In this episode, you could win a fully painted by the master himself, Angel Giraldez, Sun Tzu. It is a stunning miniature for Infinity. To find out how you can win that and to enjoy the show, well, you don't have to do anything. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy. Good morning. So, from the trailer, you'll know that Infinity 3rd Edition Week is coming. We don't have an awful lot to say about that yet, but we are joined by Cordos from Corvus Belly.
Hello.
Cordos, welcome again. And of course,
back.
we're joined by our team member, Killian.
Glad to be back.
So, we have tons to talk about this week. We're going to kick off by talking about the new painting book from Angel Giraldez.
Yes.
I'm also going to be talking about some amazing stuff from Antenocitis Workshop. You got to check this out. We're also going to be talking about the awards and survey that's kicked off this weekend, and an update on the Game Designer Challenge, which we were completely overwhelmed with. And then finally, our feature piece for this weekend is we're going to be talking about laser cutting. And our resident expert in laser cutting is going to be taking us all through it. And we even have one or two freebies for you guys. Anyway, to kick it all off, let's talk about Angel's new book. So he's been working on this. It's almost like his life until this point, his adult life anyway, has been leading to this point.
Angel, this book is his baby.
Yeah.
And he was planning to do the book, and he was thinking about how to do the book, and at some point it got so personal to him that he didn't want anyone to make any decision that could change the vision that he had for his book.
Yeah.
So it will probably be a 125 pages book.
Mm-hmm. We have a picture actually of the front cover here. So it's painting miniatures from A to Z, Angel Giraldez, Masterclass Volume 1. Do you see what he did there? Can you see what he did there?
Can you see it?
So painting miniatures from
book.
A to Z.
This book.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what
I'm sure he's very proud of that.
Yeah, totally. One day he arrived at the studio, I say that, you know that? I was thinking about my name, artist.
Yeah, yeah.
So what we can see in this cover, in fact, is something special. It's a conversion of two Infinity models all together. There's the Ojoroi pilot there, with the open Ojoroi cabinet.
That was the bootleg series, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But he managed to pull all the thing together with the actual Ojoroi legs and also the koalas there.
Yeah, the koala at the bottom.
So I can tell you from what I'm seeing, Angel has put in this book very personal projects also.
Yeah.
Really wanted to make something special. Not just painting a miniature, really showing something that has never seen,
Yeah.
So many of the decisions of Angel for this book were I'm trying to make something special. Apart from showing how to paint, the pieces will be unique.
Yeah.
Something very special. So at some point, he didn't want anyone to take control, not even Corvus Belli taking control of the book, himself. the book will be distributed by Vallejo and Corpus Belli through the usual channels, so you can buy it or pre-order
Now, at this
it.
moment, there's talk about it being limited edition to like 5,000 copies only.
Yes. And Angel wants it to be limited edition, really. So it will be just 5,000 copies, and the only way of, and this is not, a company decision, it's Angel's personal decision. Okay?
He's publishing this book himself.
Himself, the financing and the control of the project is Angel himself.
Wow.
So at some point he wants total control over everything. So he's...
Well, this is the realization of a bit of a dream for Angel.
Yes.
It's he didn't even take it to Kickstarter because he wanted to be able to create something that was... It's almost like a piece of him. Now, if you're not familiar, Angel Giraldez is like... he's the feature painter within Corvus Belli. So all of most of the beautiful Infinity miniatures you've seen being painted by him. He has developed a technique over these last years, and the technique is based on a combination of airbrush and brush.
Correct. Yes.
And the results of it are absolutely stunning. To this day, I am still gobsmacked by the Comb Rider with the tattoo and stuff on his chest. It's just the talent and what he's managed to develop in those techniques is something unreal. So if you've ever been fortunate enough to attend one of his seminars, you will have seen, and he had a seminar recently in Gen Con.
Yes.
You'll have seen this technique and whatnot being demonstrated. But this book now basically brings it to life. Now, I have a few pictures of some of the miniatures. So there's the cover miniature again.
Yes, correct.
It's just unreal, isn't it? It's just incredible.
What is even more saddening, that he's very fast.
Oh, it's stunningly fast.
He's a professional painter. He has made, sometimes the deadlines for Infinity are quite demanding. So he spends, the whole weekend painting.
Yeah.
I see that at Gen Con, some of his master's classes were 4 hours long. And he looked at people after a 4-hour class, and people were exhausted, and he's very used to being painting for 10 hours, sometimes 11 hours in a day, completely in a row, because sometimes the volume of work for a company like Corvus that maybe in a month gets out 15 new miniatures. That's a lot. So Angel, for a normal base human miniature, spends 12 hours.
12 hours.
So 1.5 days for reaching that studio painted level, which is incredible. He got into the airbrush because he needed speed.
Yeah.
So, and he's super fast, really. And because we were very used to Angel painting the miniatures, when Duff, the new studio painter, the second painter of the company, began to paint miniatures. I mean, Duff is a very good painter, but has to deliver a skill level like Angel Giraldez, so it was very difficult for him. And the speed and everything is like you are painting next to Michelangelo.
Yeah.
Angel has a Facebook for Studio Giraldez, and he shows step by steps on how to paint his models. And the airbrush is used to do that initial coat and the shading as well. So on the Uri model, all the colors are done via, all the base colors are done via airbrush.
Yeah.
And it's convinced me now that this is the future. I think I have to buy an airbrush.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going to be looking into seeing if we can get some more airbrushing tutorials and things on Beasts of War.
They require work, and you have to clean them very well every time you use them.
Yeah.
I see the discipline that the airbrush require. I mean, just to maintain,
Yeah.
They're not cheap, but the results that they give. I've seen Angel making some master classes in Granada, for example, just showing very quick how to paint a cutter, how to make a lighting effect with the airbrush, and people were like, so that is how it's done, But he has delivered quite a skillful way of dealing with these tools, really.
We have another picture here of a bust.
This is a unique piece, really.
Yeah.
This is not a Corvus Belli product. This is based on the artwork of a Human Sphere book that has this cover at some moment that was made by Chester Ocampo, where you can see instead of a faction cover, it was like how is life in a normal infinity
it was a street
city,
scene in
yeah.
a typical Infinity City.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's just to show that people have a life and it's a bright future and it's sci-fi in a clean and sophisticated way. And there's this among the people in that cover, there is this attractive girl, like she's like sending a message with a phone, something like that, and it's a very charming piece of art. And at some point, Angel, with all the sculptors that are colleagues and friends of him, managed to have this boost, and he uses this to show how to paint faces, how to use masking with some products, and how he delivers this kind of stuff, really.
Yeah, this is a very good example of skin tone as well. You can see just the different levels of skin tone there and the shadows around the cheeks, bringing in a bit of red, etc. It's very well painted.
It's beautiful. Next up now, I'm not sure what we've got here. So
Well, let me explain. This is a Preta from Infinity Setting. It's an alien.
Yeah.
It's part of the Hungry race, which is a very violent, not even intelligent. They're more like dogs of war. Okay. So Angel, once again, with these colleagues and friends, managed to have this special boost, okay, of this alien species, but a boost bigger in scale.
Yeah.
So he can show how he deals with very organic textures. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a canvas for him to show off his skills. So how does all the organic and maybe even I don't know how to describe it, the jelliness of the skin of an alien, how bubbly and how can it looks like it's
wet, almost.
wet, squeezy, that kind of alien texture. This is a perfect canvas for him to create that kind of effects when painting.
Interesting.
And then finally, we have this one here.
This one is like the Oyoroi that we have seen. This is like a conversion of the bootleg miniature, but assembled also with the actual cutter, which is an excellent tag of Pan-Oceania. I remember that this was sculpted by hand by Jose Luis Roth, who is a very traditional skilled sculptor, really. Now he's turning into a 3D sculptor, but his hands are golden, really. That kind of people that can make this with his hands and traditional tools is crazy, really. So Angel there delivered a very spectacular miniature. These miniatures were in the showcase at Gen Con, and we wanted to have these rotating bases, so the miniature is constantly rotating. And the people who knows about painting, when they get into that showcase, we have to put some lights in the showcase next time, because you have to see it. People who really appreciate that kind of details were amazed, really. At some point, when I see that someone is very excited at a miniature, I am next to him, I go the showcase, and I also to see the miniature.
I'd be afraid to hold it.
And people sometimes is like, yes. Painters love Angel, really.
Well, look, guys, stay tuned, because as we learn more about the Angel Giraldez Masterclass Volume 1 book, we will be bringing you the latest on that. In the meantime, we have a competition, and Angel has stepped up for this week's competition, and he is delivering something completely unique. He's going to paint one of these, which is the Sun Tzu character from Infinity. What can you tell us about him?
Okay, Sun Tzu. Can I reveal something for the edition? Yes.
Yeah, why not?
Please,
Let's do it.
Of course. There will be these command tokens in third edition. Okay, you are limited just to have 4 of them, but Sun Tzu has this advanced command skill. This cannot translate it anyway into second edition, and the thing is that Sun Tzu will allow you to have 5 of these tokens that make excellent stuff in third edition. So also, this miniature was made to fit into third edition. That is why Sun Tzu is holding a boarding shotgun, which is a weapon option that doesn't have in second edition. Also, when Angel was painting this miniature, he pulled out the new orange for Yuqing. From now on, all Yuqing miniatures, especially the heavy armors, will be painted with this kind of orange, which is brighter than the usual orange that he was using. We can even take a look at that remote and that other heavy infantry behind them, and we can see that they do not have the same intensity in the color.
Yeah, it's less vibrant.
Yes, so having this miniature, because it's normal human miniature, but it's bigger than the rest. I mean, it's an excellent price. Angel Giraldez painting one of these to some unlucky winner is something exciting. Really,
It's also another beautiful play on words. If we thought the A to Z was good, well, this is Sun Tzu, the art of war.
Yes.
Now, how about that? How about that?
It even fits thematically. You get that
does.
extra command token.
Anyway, if you want to be in with a chance of winning that, all you have to do is comment on this video or share it, or you can comment on it here on Beasts of War. You can comment on it over at Facebook, and you can comment over it on YouTube. And we will be picking a random winner, one from one of the three sources, and you will be the lucky winner of a custom painted Sun Tzu. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Carlos, we're going to let you get back to Spain.
Okay.
We're done with you.
Bye.
We're done with you. We can't say anything more because obviously now 3rd edition week is coming. So if we keep him on the show, that Corvus, he's going to spill all the beans, so we're going to have to kick him off. Carlos, it's been a pleasure having you.
I want to reveal more stuff, but they don't allow me. This is the thing here.
After the break, we'll be right back with Lloyd, and we're going to be having a look at, well, we're going to be talking a little bit about this. So,
wait, as if by magic, I'm here.
He's here. Welcome back, Brother Lloyd.
Hello.
Oh, no, I'm not allowed to call you Brother Lloyd. So, obviously we have 3rd edition week coming up.
Yep,
So we've been getting together and starting to build all the gaming tables and things. So what we're thinking of doing is during 3rd edition week, maybe myself and Lloyd, we might make some videos where we talk about the tables that we're putting together for it.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. We've got a couple of tables in mind.
Yeah. We're basing the tables on some new stuff that's been coming through.
Let me drool.
This beautiful, beautiful piece here
It's really nice.
is from Antenocitis Workshop. Now, if you're not familiar with Antenocitis Workshop, let me show you something else that they're working on that they've just released at the moment. Just out this week is a new product, which is a set of cars and other bits and pieces for kind of like a city set. So this one here in particular is designed for Infinity. It's called the Metropole set. And it's got taxis, police car, red Ferrari type thing in there. And then these kind of little pods and stuff that roam around.
The Metropole set.
Yeah.
That's a good name.
It is cool.
But I don't know. It makes me chuckle because there's a really crap building called the Metropole.
No, there's not.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. It's been knocked down. It was near us.
It was like the ugliest building for like 30 miles.
It used to be student accommodation.
Oh, well, yeah,
So
no, they never build attractive student accommodation, never.
The set contains 27 vehicles. So 2 VT Fairline taxis, 6 Eco Panjits, 16 Eco Curipots, 2 Tucuxi Infinities, and a Tucuxi Infinity X Police Interceptor.
Yes.
What's a Curie pot? Is it this little thing's here?
I think it's the Eggmobile.
Eco Curipots. That's the little pod type things.
And these are all resin trained
They're
pieces?
all resin.
Nice.
Yeah, so they're all resin. So, so if you're going to be doing an Infinity table or something like that in the future, and you want to try and fill it up, the beauty of these things is that these have all been redesigned, I believe, to take into account these kinds of things here, which are the new silhouette markers for 3rd edition. Carlos has left the studio now, so I'm going to start revealing all of this. So watch out for these. This is made by Warsenal over in the States. So this is their version of the silhouette template. So the vehicles have all been sized for that.
Excellent.
So as to make sure that if you're in cover behind a vehicle, you are actually in cover behind a vehicle. Because now with the accuracy of these things, if so much as a square is visible,
you can be targeted.
Yep. So it's good thinking on Antenocity's part. That anyway.
No, Warsenal.
No. Antenocity's resizing the vehicles to make them all fit. Anyway, Antenocity's got in touch and said, "Look, we're going to be doing some really cool Infinity terrain." And I said, well, happy days. Now's a good time as any for us to have a look at that, because we're going to be doing all this stuff for the upcoming Infinity 3rd edition week.
Yep.
So
I thought, yeah, nice pieces will probably come through.
And then you'll have to paint it all up.
I was
and,
relatively looking forward to it. I wasn't overly excited.
yeah.
And then, bam, this arrived and I went, what the?
Now, you will see the rest of these during the week if we don't reveal them before then. It is absolutely, can I say stunning?
Well, this is not just any
Stunning.
MDF terrain. This is very special.
Let's
MDF
give it a
Yeah.
rotation here.
So what you see here is exactly what you would end up with after you've opened the pack and put it together.
No painting at all involved.
No painting. We
painting.
haven't touched this. They haven't touched that with a paintbrush or spray of any kind. It comes obviously flat packed. It's all pre-colored. But it's not only that the HDF is pre-colored, it also comes with a selection of pre-colored resin pieces.
Yeah.
Wait a
So
minute.
the interiors...
I thought Carlos had left. Did he planted an Infinity guy?
Yeah.
Yes,
So
this is the
even the
Mobile
very
Brigada.
interiors of the building are...
This I love. Where is
Oh.
it? Look, I love this bed and sort of stuff. It's so Red Dwarf.
It is so Red Dwarf. Now, where do you see this here? I get this spun around, so as you can see, look at these control panels. You know, it's just unbelievable.
There's another sleeping quarter.
Yep.
It also comes with acrylic pieces, you know, for the windows and things. Guys, it is just absolutely beautiful. Once
good.
again, it has been sized to work specifically with the new silhouette system for Infinity. So they've taken great care over the dimensions and the construction of these
And
things.
everything goes together pretty simply.
Do you want to see my favorite part of this
Everything's
whole
kind
thing?
of just, look at that.
Yeah.
Whole panel just slot out. So when you actually get the time to sit down and paint,
Yeah.
you just pop the bits out and then pop them back in.
This is my favorite part of the whole thing. This roof hatch, you can pop it out, and it's sized so that it fits over the top, and you can pop it straight back in.
It's cool.
And that's your favorite part of the whole thing.
I know.
Well,
I was
no,
thinking,
I was like,
what's going on?
what? Killian, you're so easily impressed.
No, there's a reason for this.
Right.
All right.
Later on, when I'm talking about designing laser cut stuff,
Yeah.
this is the hardest thing imaginable, trying to work out how to do this.
Really?
Yeah, no, because having loose bits and having them pop out and get lost is a nightmare.
Yeah.
So this is an incredibly smart way of getting around that. I'm really impressed.
I like this
Okay,
bit.
that is so nerdy.
I'm
That
not-
is so nerdy.
Also, I'm easily impressed. I'm like, oh, look, that dog has a
You know,
fluffy tail.
They've created something that's beautifully pre-colored, tons of resin detailing and stuff like that there. And Killian says, "Do you look at the hatch? Look at the hatch."
I like this bit. And again, you're going to go, what? Is this like a kitchenette?
Yeah.
I just like the fact that, war, destroy, kitchenette.
Well, you've got to make tea and
Everybody's
coffee.
got to eat.
Yeah, you've got to make
Everybody's
tea and
gotta
coffee.
eat.
Everybody needs tea and coffee.
Yeah.
It is just a fabulous piece. You know, it's you know, the details on these things. I think this is it now. You know, we're bound to be entering the stage where we're going to see a whole lot more pre-colored HDF type stuff. You know, I'm really looking forward to where we're going to be this time next year. Okay, you know, it's I remember in what was it? It was about 2 years ago. We were talking about this HDF stuff is really kind of cool. Where do you see what will come around in the next year or so? I'm saying it again. This approach of pre-coloring, and we're hearing on the grapevine that the guys even from likes of Plascraft and stuff are now looking into some really interesting and exciting stuff coming up in the future. I reckon by this time next year, our options for terrain making and making terrain that is just ready straight out of the box.
Yeah.
You know, that we're not having to lift a paintbrush or anything to make it look good. Is just going to be absolutely freaking awesome.
Yep, it's getting really nice.
I do like this stuff a lot. I mean, I look at it and I think International Space Station type look and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on to 7TV and get myself some astronauts.
Well, I was looking at this and I was sitting thinking, do you know, if it didn't have some, do you know, it doesn't even matter that it has some of the kind of the logos of, you know, Phoenix Industries and things like that. but it's so Space 1999, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
it really is like it's like a 70s pulp kind of a feel to
We're
it.
totally
doesn't it?
missing Justin and Sam here to mention Space 19.
Yeah, and to watch them go
99.
blank.
What?
Yeah.
Did you call it Space 1999 or Space 1979?
No, it's definitely Space
See, I'll
1999.
it's like Jerry Anderson's Space 1999.
So what I want to do is I also want to just turn it over till we get a look underneath. I haven't actually looked underneath this thing yet, so
it's got the feet on
yeah,
it.
just to show that it is actually, this one in particular is a raised platform, so it has these little resin pieces that just raise the whole thing up.
This isn't even the biggest.
No, this is not the biggest. Wait for third edition. Wait till you see what this stuff looks like whenever we finally put it together.
There's some parts that even have little resin rivets in the walls, which is a real huge extra level of detail. Like it's got the extra mile, absolutely.
It is great stuff. Anyway, be sure to go over and check out Antenocitis Workshop. They have some of the most fantastic vehicles and, you know, kind of like flyers and drop ships and stuff like that are just unreal. And some of their tanks,
Very nice.
just awesome stuff. So go and be sure to check them out. We're going to take a quick break. After the break, we're going to be talking about the 2014 annual awards from Beasts of War. That's our awards and surveys. And I've got an update for you on the Game Designer Challenge. We'll be right back after this.
All right, we are back. What have we got coming up?
So I've heard about this thing, the Beasts of War Awards.
What?
Yes.
The Beast of War Awards?
Exactly. What are they? Tell us more.
So a couple of years back, we did the Beasties that were going to be our annual kind of awards and things like that. With the moves and everything that we had, both that took place just right on the mouth of Christmas, we didn't get the chance to expand upon that. Okay, so we have come back to it. So what it is the beginning of an annual survey and industry awards, okay? That's powered by you. Completely powered by you.
But do we still have the Beasties?
I don't know if we're going to use the Beasties.
I love the Beasties. The Beasties were made by my sister.
Yes.
Right? So she basically got clay models and molded them into weird, funky faces with sticky out tongues. And they just stuck this on a pencil and stuck it on some big feet that she made. I thought that's the most random looking thing I've ever seen.
She created the Beastie Boys, if you will.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's
Oh, wait, I've just remembered why we're retiring them. Because Owen kept putting them down.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Owen, long-time fan, decided to run off with one, and Justin had to go in and rescue it. Not right. Justin's editing this, so that may not even make it out. So, it's a combined thing of a survey and awards. And basically, this weekend, we have sent out the surveys. We're going to be pestering you guys to a fair degree to go in and fill it in. So it's going to work in a series of stages up to the finale, which is happening on Christmas week. So stage one, we're sending out these surveys that we'd ask you to fill in, okay? And the survey is about you, your gaming habits and things like that. And then at the end of the survey, you get to nominate from the categories. And the categories are best sci-fi game, best fantasy game, best pulp, punk, horror, or weird game, best historical game, and then a couple of other categories, including best new company of 2014. When we get all of that in, during the actual awards week, it's not only about the awards, but we're going to report back on the findings of the survey. Because a lot of people have the surveys and stuff like that there, but they never really either publish it or interpret it. We're actually going to go through during late November and go through the data and stuff like that and give you guys some feedback on what the gaming landscape looks like. So we'll be talking about the awards, but we'll also be talking about the survey and some of our findings and things like that of the survey. And we think that might well just be interesting.
And it's broken into genre.
We went with genre.
Is there board games and card games?
No, all the sci-fi games are in there. All the
but our board games and card
board
games,
games, card games, war games, role-playing games, it's all in there.
Wow,
because we're going by genre, just to do something a bit different. Because I feel that games can stand against each other. Okay? So when we get all the nominations in, we're going to work through the nominations and filter them down based on the number of votes, based on the timing of them and stuff like that. And then we're going to come up with our nominees. And there might be 5 or so nominees for each category.
Okay.
Those nominees will then be posted on beastsofwar.com, where we'll get you guys to vote on them. Okay? And it'll be a blind vote. So whenever it comes to actually doing the awards, we'll be revealing what the Beasts of War browsing public feel is the best in the game. We have a couple of other categories. Another category is going to be Club of the Year.
Okay.
Now, Club of the Year is not going to be based on votes or whatever. What we're going to ask people to do is to submit why their club should be Club of the Year. And then ourselves, we're going to go through and we're going to pick out. And that's kind of like an honorary MBE or an OBE type thing to try and recognize the work that clubs and all are doing out there.
And this is open internationally, so it can be a club from anywhere in the world?
Anywhere in the world. And absolutely anywhere in the world. On top of that, we do have a prize. Although for the best games and stuff like that there, it's going to be the likes of a Beastie, and they'll be giving badges and stuff like that they can be put onto their websites or whatever. For Newcomer of the Year, we're actually going to give them a full year's worth of advertising and support on Beasts of War. So as a reward from you guys to them, whoever you pick as Newcomer of 2014 as a community, but as Beasts of War, we're going to give them pretty much our full advertising package.
That's quite a prize.
To try and help them along through the rest of 2015.
That'll help.
Yeah, I'd say if you want exposure, that's the way to get it.
So, what's in it for all of us? Well, there may well be a prize, and a giveaway for one lucky filler-inner of the survey and nominations.
One lucky filler-inner.
One lucky filler-inner. But of course, you're not doing it for that. You're doing it for the altruistic reasons of the more data that we can get, the more nominations we can get, the more crack this is going to be, and the more interesting a story we can tell on the run-up to Christmas whenever we're talking about the nominees. So each day on that themed week, we're going to be talking about the nominees in the sci-fi category, day one, and then tell a little bit of the story of what we've seen from the survey. Day two, we'll be talking about the nominees of another category, maybe 2 categories, and a bit more about what we've found out from the survey and some of our opinions and things on that. Yep. Day 3, day 4, the same, and then day 5, which may be Christmas Day or Boxing Day or whatever, is going to be the actual awards, and we will announce the winners of each of the categories. And we will announce the winner, probably, of the survey competition, who would probably win a fairly decent prize.
So when you're sitting there aching with your belly stuffed,
full of turkey,
too much turkey, too much ham, too many pickles, too many spuds, too much of everything.
We could be your tiny little wafer.
You're sitting... plot away and see who's won.
Yeah.
Sounds very exciting.
I think it's going to be great fun.
Pretty good.
I think it's going to be great fun. On the topic of great fun, last week we announced our Game Designer Challenge. We put it out in the e-zine where you could become a game designer on Monday. And the response was absolutely overwhelming. Now, we've been crazy filming this week, so we haven't been able to get back to everybody that filled in the form. I'm not even sure if we're going to be able to get back to everybody that filled in the form. We had well over 100 applications. So much so we had to close the applications early because it just the volume of them came in so thick and fast, we could barely keep up. However, we did go through every one of them. And the standard was absolutely unreal. Now, I don't mind saying 1 or 2 of you were maybe a little bit ambitious in what you wanted to create. You know, it's remember, it was only 2 weeks, and a full-on competitor to 40K does not get made in 2 weeks. You know, so
some of the illustration stuff we've seen was great too.
Oh, the illustrators were superb.
I mean, there was that stick drawing with Justin and an egghead.
Yeah, he had a head like an orange. we had some fabulous illustrations, and we had a couple of funny ones as well. I want to do a big shout out to John Gendel. Okay, John submitted his thing a bit late. He's an absolutely wonderful illustrator, but what completely caught our eye was this.
That is pretty good.
It just encapsulates everything. The whole thing was inspired by a comment in Backstage where I was talking about what I would do at the end of the world and how my first port of call would be to call Justin, and that we'd ride around together in an ice cream van.
And this ice cream van.
Yeah, that
and
particular.
Then after it, I then discovered the ice cream van. And then, based on discovering the ice cream van, I thought, oh, we should make a game about this. This would be really cool. And then I remembered we were going to do the Game Designer Challenge, and I thought, do you know what? Let's pull it forward and let's make it a Halloween Game Designer Challenge. And we've had some amazing games.
It's a good shot. And I can't. Is that Justin or like a Vin Diesel?
That's Justin, and he looks so happy to have an axe.
Yeah.
He's very casual.
I thought he was just. I thought he was.
I know he's so. Oh yeah.
Oh, zombies.
He spotted the camera and he's posing a little bit. I just think it's fabulous, and I love, John, the fact that you gave me a 99.
Yeah.
You know?
you obviously just made the biggest 99 you can actually physically hold right now.
You're never losing that 99. Look at that grip.
It's just that's my ice cream backed up off. It's just fabulous. That completely made my day. It really did. The winner, anyway, and the chosen illustrator are working away on it. We're not going to release names or anything just yet, just to give them a chance to try and get all their work done. I am very, very excited about the game that they're making. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting concept, and bearing in mind they've only 2 weeks to make it, and we're now halfway there. The pressure is on, but I'm very, very interested. Just to say that the final decision came down to, we basically shortlisted, and then there were so many in the shortlist, I had to create a category called Shorter List.
Shorter list. Right.
So then we made Shorter List, and then we went through Shorter List to create Possible Winner List, because I thought we might be able to just nail this, but the standards were so high. And then at the very end, it came down to about 3, maybe 4, that was so difficult to choose from. I've got to say, we will be reaching out to you 4 to tell you how close you came, because I've got to say,
it took
every one of you won it at one point.
It took a long time to go through them all, because we were in the car going to the airport, and we were still on the phone with Ben discussing it as we were driving to the airport.
We had Ben reading out each one, and we were going through the pros and cons of it while we were commuting up to the airport.
Very, very high quality entries then?
Oh, it's unreal. And when I say every one of you won it, there was a stage where basically that's the winner. And then later on, we let it settle, and it was like, no, actually, that's the winner. And then the final one that we picked then ultimately became the winner. But there was a stage where each and every one of you were right on the cusp. You had been named the winner, and it was only the fact that we allowed ourselves a little bit more time to procrastinate. But we will be in touch with you for definite to talk to you a bit about what you've done, because some of your ideas were fabulous, and the Game Designer Challenge is something that we're definitely going to expand on.
So you'll see more about this in the future. Okay.
Yeah, what's likely to happen is one of you 4 may be contacted to do your game as our big Christmas thing, and we'll work with you to do that. Then after Christmas, we're going to do another Game Designer Challenge, where we're going to change it again, and we're going to try and change things up, and we're going to get teams, so you can basically submit, okay, and we're going to do it like Game Jam.
Oh yes, no. Game
Okay.
Jam is the 24-hour. You have 24 hours to code a game from scratch and then submit it to a competition.
So what we're going to do is that you will submit your ideas. Okay, we will pick 3, 4, maybe five of you, the teams. So our first, we'll pick 5. We'll order that 5 randomly, and then those 5 can go in. The first guy can go in, pick an illustrator. If the illustrator's okay with it, you become a team. Next one, the illustrator's okay with it, you become a team, and so on until you've got 5 2-man teams. Okay, and then what we're going to do is assign each of you a mentor
or lady.
Or lady.
Oh, sorry, did I say or lady? Yeah. We're going to assign each of you a mentor, and that might be the likes of Alessio Cavatori, Jake Thornton, people like that, that you can get a chat with. And then we're going to give you 2 weeks to compete, to create a game, okay? And then the community will then be able to vote on what their favorite game was.
And then on the last day, we throw them all in a pit with loads of weapons. And it becomes catching fire.
Yeah.
I prefer Thunderdome. Thunderdome sounds a lot better.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Thunderdome.
So it's a cage match. But anyway, it's just to change things up that the Game Designer Challenge is always something slightly different each time we run it, and we work out the themes and stuff like that there, because it is the appetite for it was absolutely astounding. I couldn't get over just how many of you wanted to get involved in it, and I was astounded by the quality of the creative ideas and stuff that was in it. The next one, though, will give you a little bit more time and a little bit more notice on the whole thing. We're not just going to be just quite as sharp with it as we were for this one, just to see how you get on. But we think it's great. And the only thing to remember is what you create at the end of the day goes out to the world completely free of charge. It is headlined in our e-zine, across our social networks and everything. You get a big pride of place in that. So whether you want to try and win some work or promote your fledgling game design, I don't know, career, maybe you have a Kickstarter or something that you've always fancied doing, and you want to use that as a vehicle to try and generate some eyeballs on that. This Game Designer Challenge is the opportunity for you to try and, I don't know, realize something. We want to do our best to try and help you do that. So there'll be a good package of I don't know, incentives and support and stuff like that to try and help you on your way as you find your feet in the gaming world.
That's very good. Yeah.
So, what else have I got to say about that? Nothing other than I love this. I absolutely love this. I'm thinking of taking the website down for a week and just having that as our homepage.
You need a catchy title across the top, though. That's the thing. It's got to have like a title, like 2 man, 1 ice cream truck, the end of the world.
Yeah, 2 men, 1 ice cream.
2 men, 1 ice cream, yeah.
I know.
This reminds me, did anybody pick up on the music we used?
Yes, they did. Yeah. when we did 4 men, 1 bucket for the
4 beasts, 1 bucket.
4 beasts, 1 bucket.
Bucket.
There's some dodgy music on that.
There was, yeah, and we did get the comment of "I see what you did there." But anyway, we should maybe run this as a caption contest, really, because it's.
I'm actually already thinking of a few. There's some
caption contest. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, how about movie title and then caption underneath?
Do you know what?
Yeah.
We're going to do this in Backstage, okay?
Yeah.
Backstage is what keeps Beasts of War alive. It's what keeps us independent. It's what allows us to do as a community what we want to do. It pays for the servers, it pays for the electricity, and it keeps everything running. We would not survive if it were not for the enthusiastic input and the support of our Backstagers. In this week's XLBS, which is the extra long backstage version of this show, which is a whole other hour of this show, we're going to be running a competition. And that competition will be to win a signed copy of Operation Ice Storm, signed by the entire Corvus Belli team, which we think is a very good worthwhile prize.
Really good prize.
And to win that, we're going to run a caption competition on this in Backstage. Okay,
sounds good to me, yeah.
Backstage, there's a 7-day free trial. Backstage only costs £3.79 per month at the moment, so it's less than the price of a coffee and a muffin. It's about half the price of a coffee and a muffin.
Yeah.
We are thinking about bumping the price up a little bit, but what we're thinking of doing, and what will most likely happen, is we're going to grandfather that for all existing Backstage members. So if you get in now at your £3.79, then you stay at your $3.79 regardless of little price increases.
It's pretty good.
Potentially.
Yep.
So
that is good.
Yeah, this was
if
very
you're really
good.
enjoying something, isn't that great to be able to just go, I can continue to enjoy that at the same cost?
At the way I've always enjoyed it. So if you were ever thinking of trying out Backstage, like I said, there's a 7-day free trial. You know, you sign up, it's done via your PayPal, and if you don't like it, just cancel before the 7th day, and your billing and stuff doesn't kick in. So you can't say fairer than that.
Yeah, that's true.
Why not come over, check out XLBS, check out Backstage, because it's not only a donation, there is literally hundreds and hundreds of detailed hobby videos, detailed painting tips, and terrain
Designers
making tips.
interviews.
There's designer interviews, so if you're interested in trying to get a real flavor for what designers like Rick Priestley, Alessio Cavatore, Jake Thornton and these guys think and what about their time in the gaming industry, there's a fabulous one from John Stallard of Warlord, where he talks about his days in Games Workshop and how Games Workshop changed over the 30-odd years that he worked in the company.
He was there from the beginning, wasn't he?
Well, thereabouts.
Just about.
Yeah, thereabouts. He was
time.
there very early. So there are just some stunning pieces of content in there if you want to go and check them out. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. After the break, Killian is going to take us through the world of laser cutting. So we're big fans of laser cut terrain in Beasts of War. It's a fabulous kind of a concept that, well, it raised its head. When did it raise its head? About 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago,
I think. Yeah,
about 4 or 5 years ago. And then this is an example of where it's gone.
Yeah,
it's
like we were looking at it and just looking at the potential, of laser cut terrain, even then. And myself and Lloyd are huge fans of terrain making, and we've often thought about about the possibility of what if we could get the likes of a laser cutter or get access to a laser cutter. What kinds of things would we create?
Could we make?
What could we make?
Yes.
What kind of world could I make and be the ruler of? I am the ruler of the cut world.
Yes, your head's cut. Anyway, Killian, you have a lot of experience actually of laser cutting. So maybe you can take some time to take ourselves and the guys at home through what's involved and what's been your experience of it.
Okay. Well, similar to you guys, I first became aware of laser cutting a few years ago when the first buildings started appearing. This is really, really nice. This is revolutionary stuff because it's terrain that's very easy to put together, very easy to make, and looked fantastic for the time.
Yeah.
But I always thought laser cutting was something beyond anything. A laser cutter would cost so much money.
Yeah.
But luckily, there's this program that was started in MIT in the States. It's called Fab Lab. And what it exists to do is bring new technologies to people in all around the world. So, for example, teaching people how to use things like 3D printers and laser cutters and CNC machines.
Yeah.
And around about the time that I was getting interested in this, one of them opened here in Northern Ireland. In fact, it was nearly the first one in all of Ireland.
Yeah.
And it's based in Belfast. It's Fab Lab Belfast. And they have an Epilogue laser cutter, which is...
Now, these Fab Labs, you can find them all throughout the UK now. There's a lot of different Fab Labs all scattered around.
They're all over the world.
Do you just log into a website?
Yeah, there's a Fab Lab website, I would
There's
imagine.
a Fab Lab website. You can find the main one, which is based out of MIT. But a lot of universities now have Fab Labs as part of their departments. And a lot of architecture departments now use laser cutters to make basically model making easier for their students.
Yeah.
So basically, if you live near a university that has an architecture department, or you're in a relatively large city, for example, Barcelona has one of the best actually in Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah. You will find that you might have a Fab Lab nearby that you can book some time in and use for free as well. Which is really
this
nice.
is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It's completely free
Completely
for
free.
for people like us to come off the street and go in, use it, and they'll help us learn how to actually use the equipment and stuff like that. So you could sit at home designing something.
Exactly. And the crucial thing about FabLab is that they are working on the principle of open source. All their software and all their designs are free. So you can go in, they'll show you the software, and you can go home, download the software, and play around with it yourself.
Right, so even the very software is open source that you can download.
So you can maximize your time because you're basically just walking in to cut out what you've pre-designed.
Exactly, what you design at home.
Yeah.
So,
but do they ask you any weird questions when you turn up? Like, I don't know, IDs, and what? You just walk in and just
do
say,
you have to sign up to become a member, or is there...
It depends on the Fab Lab in question, but a lot of the time you'll basically go in and you'll book a session, and in that session they'll teach you the basics, show you the software that's required, and you can then go home and download it. In terms of asking you any questions, well, if you went in and asked them, I'd like to learn how to wire a bomb, or I'd like to 3D print a gun, maybe then I think the eyebrows would be raised, but you know.
Can I just say to whichever NSA guy is now watching this video, he is joking. I know he's got a Northern Irish accent and he has used those words, but please understand that was not a threat. That was just a joke.
No.
This is a show about mostly playing with toy soldiers.
Yes. You know, if you have other
soldiers.
toy
soldiers.
If you have other NSA guys in there, why not share this video inside? You know, and let them all see this as well, because I'm sure all you guys will enjoy it. Okay, our advert to the NSA is now over.
Very good. So when I was thinking about designing terrain, I didn't have any idea really where to start. I mean, you can see that the initial designs came out, but there was no things on how to make these.
Yeah.
And I wanted to design terrain for my gaming club in Belfast that was like easy to store and very simple, cheap to make.
Yeah.
Now, luckily, Carlos from Corvus Belli designed
who was on at the start of the show.
Yep. Designed his own plans when he was an art student.
Yeah.
And he put a design up online, which I'm showing here, which is for a 2-stage cube building.
Yeah.
So he made this originally out of 5mm thick foam core.
I remember Carlos showing us this kind of stuff back in the early days. Yeah, back in those early days when we first started to work with Corvus Belli and to cover Infinity. And I remember him bringing the foam core stuff with us and he showed us how it all fitted inside each other as well.
So the crucial part here is the upper grey box fits inside the lower one.
Yeah.
So it stores really well. So I took this design and I worked out, okay, I have access to 3mm material, which is the standard size you'll see for a lot of laser cut MDF, for example. All this is 3mm stuff. Now what I did was I used a 3D modeling program that I had access to take those plans and transfer them into laser cut 3D pieces.
Right.
So my initial design, when I cut it out, or when I had it designed, looked like this.
And what did you use to create this? Do you remember what program it was?
Now, this is not a free piece of software. This is one I had access to as part of my PhD.
Yeah.
And the piece of software I used was called Autodesk Inventor. And it's actually designed for making machine parts or very complex shapes. But with a little bit of tweaking, I got it to use for designing flat pack stuff.
Could people use the likes of Google SketchUp or something to do this kind of thing?
Spring to mind.
Yeah, Google SketchUp is basically a simplified version of Inventor. You don't get all the tools, but you do get the ability to do this. So this would be equally easy to do in SketchUp. And in fact, with the new version of SketchUp that's just come out, this would be really easy. I did this a few years ago with a very old piece of software.
Yeah.
So with now SketchUp, this would be very simple to do. And SketchUp is what you really want to use if you're designing something now. So again...
No, I'm loving this. And I love the mention of Autodesk because as youngsters, when we went through school and then went through technical college, we were all training to become draftsmen.
Yeah.
So technical drawing was the big thing, and I remember us using AutoCAD, and we didn't use a mouse or anything. Everything was just typed in at the time. It was really interesting stuff. So.
Yep.
Oh, I'm getting all excited now. So what else have you got to show us on that?
I'll show the opposite side of the building.
Yeah.
So that was the back. This is the front.
Yeah.
So there's a separate piece.
It's quite an ingenious little design he came up with, though, isn't it? With the steps up and then curving on round.
But because I had extra space on the sheet, because these are all cut out of sheet material, what I did was I designed a few extra pieces that would go in this. So these are things I came up with myself. So the first one was a generic kind of bus shelter. With a couple of extra bits.
Yeah.
That just adds a little bit of extra flavour to it, a little bit of extra scattered terrain.
And more stuff to block line of sight.
And more stuff to block line of sight.
Things like that are really good for bringing streets together. There's life. There's nothing worse than looking at a gaming table and there's a street and nothing's happening in it.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, I needed something else because I had this, but I still had more space. But I thought, what do I often see when I'm walking around Belfast? What I see are skips.
I am so glad you said that because I was worried about what might be coming.
I thought you were going to say drunk people.
Yeah, how do you laser cut a wino? You know, like
or a bottle of Buckfast or something, you know, the etching in very, very small. But no, so I designed skips
that's
as well.
an interesting one. And again, a really good piece for blocking line of sight. And
exactly.
stuff as well.
It's different from, say, the typical shipping containers that you might see.
Well, I was going to say, why didn't you make a shipping container?
Because everybody does shipping containers. Shipping containers are easy. No, something more hard to do is a skip with curved sides and stuff.
I'm not making a shipping container. I'm making a skip.
I love your little tongue and groove type thing that you've got going
holding
on
together the edges. Yeah, which is
So-
one thing you learn when you're doing the laser cutting is you need some way of it holding together. So you start learning about tongue and groove just to have all the bits solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll give you a shot now of what this looked like when it was put on the table. So I
So you did actually go ahead and build it then?
I went down to Fab Lab. They showed me how to transfer my designs from the 3D to the 2D and get them cut out with a laser cutter. And the end result was something like this. And this is a demo game I ran years ago with a whole mixture of terrain there. Now, some of that terrain is stuff that was made by a friend of mine, and it's made by a traditional method using, weirdly enough, foam core.
Yeah.
And then you can see my laser cut buildings there with the skips and the bus shelters.
Yep.
And then there's some walls that you can see, which are made from the internal dividers from an aluminium flight case.
Yes.
Yeah, which normally make perfect walls. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they do have a concrete sort of
look
look to them.
They do. So you put those on a little base.
Put together.
Yeah, put those on a little base, paint some graffiti on them, and even give them a spray of grey, and they look fantastic.
Now, there's no etching or anything on this. I think this is before you'd really got into the idea of etching patterns and stuff.
Well, the first thing I wanted to do was I wanted to be sure the designs actually worked. I wanted to be sure they went together and that they was structurally sound.
Yeah.
Because there's no point in doing a whole lot of effort into something, doing all the etching, putting it together, and finding out it falls apart.
Right. So if you were going to give a bit of advice to anybody thinking of doing this sort of stuff,
do it a step at a time.
And I'll show you why this is, because here is a very embarrassing photo of me many years ago during my ponytail phase.
Ponytail.
I know. And here I am trying to remember how I designed my own building so I could put it back together.
Reduced 79p.
Yeah.
Was it
Tesco's
99p?
special wood glue. Yeah.
This is literally somebody took a photo of me trying to remember how the hell I designed my own buildings.
Yeah.
Trying to put the bits together. So yeah, bear in mind that whatever you design, you want it to be absolutely perfect before you go to the extra effort of putting more stuff in it. So I designed these initial buildings. They seem to work really well, but I had a problem.
Right.
And that is the game Infinity caught on really, 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 really where I play in Belfast. And we needed more terrain.
Yeah.
Now I could only make so many of these because they're still quite bulky, but I wanted to design some new terrain, my own designs.
Yeah.
So what I do is I thought, what's the best thing I could do? Maybe make a single piece of terrain that inside it had other pieces of terrain, that inside that were more pieces of terrain all the way down, like a Russian doll nearly.
Yeah.
So one Christmas, I was in Donegal. I was snowed in. They literally took in the roads because it was so heavy. And I had a few hours spare.
They took in the roads. Oh, that is a saying I haven't heard in a lifetime. They took in the roads and the snow was so heavy. Right.
And I sat down, and over the course of a few hours, I designed some new buildings based on this methodology of it should all fit inside each other.
Yeah.
And so what I did was I designed this stuff here.
Oh. Yeah.
The crucial thing about this is that all of those buildings and all the little extra bits all fit inside one another until they fit inside the single large central box.
Well, everything
that you have there
one big
all goes into that one big box.
It all goes into that one big building. This is one of the early attempts at this. This is still the Mark 1 design because I wanted to test that it actually worked. But when I got back to Belfast after Christmas, when they finally reopened the roads, as it turned out, I went to Fab Lab, very, very excited, and I started getting these cut out. So the first one I got cut out was one of the middle-sized buildings.
Yeah.
I tested it for scale and size. It seemed to work out okay.
That looks good, yeah.
Yep. And then I tested the big building to make sure it worked out okay. And there you can see the big building, there's no sense of scale on this, but the top of it is roughly 30 centimeters. And it's long about, I think it's 425 millimeters, so 42.5 centimeters. So it's big enough. It's about the size of, say, one of the plastic storage boxes that you'd get.
Yes.
Yeah. So after a lot of laser cutting, and it took a good few weeks to get this done, going in and out, getting things cut, I had a whole table worth of this terrain.
Right.
So this now is a table set up with all of the terrain that I'd made.
Wow.
So most of this is fits inside the single box.
Yeah.
And the other bits are the previous bits there that I'd done
Yeah,
before.
see the couple of bits based on Carlos's design, but the rest of that basically all packs down inside each other. Like you said, like Russian dolls until it goes into the main box.
Yep. In that photo as well, you can see still the concrete barrier walls made from the dividers, and also some free papercraft terrain.
Yes.
And it's from a guy who was known as Tommy Gun. I'm not sure what he goes by at the moment, but he left his designs online somewhere, and I think you can still find it online in a papercraft terrain website. And it's very good. It was just basically shipping containers, print them out, fold them together, pre-colored card. Looked really good. So I tried my hand at cutting stuff out. This was all structurally sound. I should point out that I made this so I could test whether it would last, because there's no point having terrain and it falls apart after a few uses. So this was my test bed. If this worked and held together, I would do some more work on it.
Yeah.
But like any plan, I got distracted by stuff. So this is all done in laser cut birch plywood.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of things you can laser cut. For example, in the building that we have here, there's laser cut acrylic.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see what it'd be like to cut some acrylic. So in Infinity, there are camo markers. And camo markers are basically the same size as a model, but they're like a camouflage troop. They're invisible. So what I decided to do is I would try and design some camouflage markers that could be used on the table to represent figures. And so what I did was I designed these, which are, these were very basic camouflage markers based off just a very simple template.
Yeah.
There's an etching on the back, which I hadn't tried before. So etching a camouflage pattern in the back of the acrylic along with a number, and then a base for the figure with also a number. So you could tell from above and from the side what number the camo marker was.
Yeah.
Now the good thing about acrylic is it comes in a lot of colors.
Yeah.
So these are the same design.
I love the blue one.
Yeah, the blue now. The blue is actually my favorite. The blue turns out really well.
Yeah.
Cutting a bunch of colors to see what it looked like. So there's a smoky gray there on the far left.
Yeah.
And then working through the blue, yellow, green, and also orange. But again, that's a very simple design. You can see the one on the end. I tried something different.
Yeah.
The smoky grey one actually looks like...
Yeah, it's almost see-through.
It looks a bit predatory.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you can also get transparent, absolutely clear acrylic, which looks really good too. I also tried a few different types of design. So a couple of silhouettes online found from some games and some open source stuff. Taking
I
the
like
silhouettes.
the camo pattern.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of these that are just pure transparent, but I like it actually with the camo patterns.
I tried the camo pattern because I thought I wanted to try something different than just it being see-through. But with a pattern and a number in the back, it looks more interesting. And then for a slightly different, for example, that's one camo pattern, but I could change it to this one here. And that's in a...
The hexes.
Yeah, the hexes.
Yeah.
So again, a bit more futuristic because hexes are the future.
Yeah.
And like a slightly different design, more sci-fi and high-tech. And then what I also thought I'd do is, and this is something that we might give away because it's very simple. Anybody can make this and it's very, very useful.
Yep.
Is a very simple tray for carrying around models. So this is a simple tray made out of only 2 sheets required to make it. And it's also modular.
Yeah.
So you can see there's a grey strip there. If you take out that grey strip, the bit in the middle with the holes slides out.
Yeah.
And if you make another one that has a different arrangement of holes or different sizes for different based models, for example, say you have some models with very large bases, you cut a different sheet, you slot it in, and you can use the same board for different things.
Yeah.
So I can, if we make this available, I can show how you can do that, and it's very, very quick to do.
So what was the idea of the space then on the other side of the grey strip?
Because you want to put your dice and your measuring tape somewhere, and any counters and markers you have not in where your models are, so it keeps them nice and separate. It also allows, when you lift that out, it slides out and lifts up. You can take things in and out.
Yeah.
So, as we said earlier, etching was the next thing.
Yeah.
It's nice having these buildings, but you want them to look attractive. For example, this has nice etching around the top, along the sides. So I want to do some practicing with etching.
Yeah.
Now, I thought about doing it on my buildings, but like anything else, I got distracted. And I thought, what I'll do is I'll do tiles. I'll do a whole table full of street tiles or spaceship tiles or something.
Yeah.
And I'll do the etching on that.
The street tiles interest me because, you know, buildings, you get quite a lot of them these days, but you don't have a huge variety of street actual tiles.
Well, one of the difficulties is, and why a lot of the manufacturers don't tackle that, is because the weight, the weight of that as a product to try and ship out
you need
is
to cover
too heavy.
a lot of space.
Yeah, a lot.
So
of space.
it becomes cost prohibitive for them to actually create that as a product.
So an open source sort of route is maybe the way to go.
Yeah.
So I basically,
especially if you can find a fab lab that'll do it for free. Do you have to pay for the materials?
Some labs you do, some labs you don't. But if you do need to get material, it's very cheap. If you're using, for example, laser cut MDF or HDF, you're looking about 2p a sheet. You know?
Really?
Yeah, 2p.
There'll probably be a memo go around at the end of next week.
Yeah.
All the Fab Labs saying, There's been a run on us.
There's been a run on us. Crazy war gamers coming in.
So I decided to try and design some street tiles.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll show you the results of the first one I did. Now, I should point out that my ambition sometimes overstretches what I can actually accomplish.
Yeah.
But I'll show you this, and I'll talk you through what actually happened.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's...
Oh, man.
So this is the first street tile.
That's really good. You got grates and everything in it.
Yep. It's 16 by 16 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 of these together is 4 foot. So 9 of them will make a whole table.
Yeah.
And there's 2 parts to this. The road section in the middle is 2mm HDF.
Yeah. Oh, so it is actually lowered down.
It is slightly lower, yeah. And the bit, the sidewalks are 3mm. So again, it's got that lip.
Yeah.
So what? It's 2mm and 3. So
1mm. Yeah.
I'll show just a side view of this
curb.
And you can sort of see there's a slight curb on the side.
1mm doesn't sound like a lot, but when you see it like that, it does.
It's adequate, isn't it?
It is pretty much to scale, which is the best part.
Yeah.
So the design, everything you can see there has been etched in, and it's done by basically the laser goes around and cuts in these lines, which is the quickest way of doing it. Now, if I go back to the first one, the roads took next to no time at all. I cut out.
So they're very quick to.
Very quick to do. I was able to get those out in less than half an hour, make enough sections. The sidewalks took 80 minutes because there's a lot of detail there.
Yeah.
I think I put in far, far too much detail.
Yeah.
If I close in on the one again, all those sort of tri-hexes there, all the way around, because of the amount of etching required for all of those, that took 80 minutes to cut out, enough to do just that tile. So I think
80 minutes just for that tile.
Just for that tile.
And how long did the road take just for that tile?
So if you go back to the picture before,
so the road.
I'm counting 1, 2, 3 bits of paving.
Yeah. Plus one more, which isn't in the shot, but and that took 80 minutes.
And the roads for all the tiles took about 30 minutes.
About 30 minutes for all of them. And there's and I'll show. So the entire design, if you put it all together, what it would look like, the 9 tiles, is this.
Right.
And all of those road sections took about half an hour.
Yeah.
And one section of tile from the T-junction took 80 minutes.
Did you ever finish it then?
No, I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah.
Well, man, you got to finish it.
I know, I have to go back to it when I have the time, but it's sort of, I thought, okay, that took a while.
Yeah.
But what I'll do now is, okay, what about the spaceship side? Because I wanted to make a spaceship board as well.
Yeah.
So I put this on hold for a wee while.
I'm seeing a theme.
This is the theme here. I put this on hold for a while.
Yeah.
And what I did was I tried to design a spaceship board.
Yeah.
And again, my ambition overstated my actual ability.
Yeah.
And what I ended up with was something like this. Now, this looks all nice and good.
I seen this picture earlier. It looks weird when you look at it like this.
Yeah.
Wait for the close-up.
Okay.
Yes, wait till you see the close-up indeed. So, as you can see...
Yeah, I've spent this entire episode going, ooh! I'm having such shiny syndrome.
From a distance, it was kind of hard to work out what it was, but then when you get in close, you can see all the hex grids and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep, all those hex holes in the decking plates are all cut through to the layer below. So those are actually all holes cut through.
That took a while.
But if we zoom in even closer just to the actual side decking plates, those are all etched as well. And you see all those little tiny holes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Those were all also cut through to the other side.
Oh, they were actually completely cut through?
Completely cut through. Now, whenever I did this original plan, I thought, I don't know how long this will take. To do one of the big tiles in 2 halves, to be fair, was 2 hours.
2 hours?
2 hours.
To do one tile?
To do this one tile took 2 hours.
That's one tile, or is that 2?
No, that is the 2. So it's one single of the 9 tiles, but it's in 2 halves, and combined it took 2 hours.
So that took 2 hours to do that?
Yeah. Now that is...
How sore on a machine is that, though? It's...
When you're cutting anything like MDF, it gives off a lot of dust, and dust is the main thing that destroys laser cutters, because you have to clean the optics afterwards, and you've got to change out the filters that extract out the dust, because otherwise people using the laser cutters would be choked to death by the dust from essentially vaporized wood. But that, I'm going to try and finish this table, because I think it looks really, really good.
Yeah.
But it's going to take a while, and I wouldn't ever try and produce this commercially, just because it would be massive wear and tear on any laser cutter. But it's nice. I'm going to have it set for myself
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be really unique.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think anybody else is going to be mad enough to try this.
How many of them do you need to create a 4x4 table then?
Same as before, 9 of those.
9 of those. So 18 hours.
Yeah, of continuous usage and booking the time to get it.
Yeah.
It would take a while, never mind wear and tear on the machine.
Killian, that is absolutely fascinating. Guys, we're going to come back to laser cutting, as we go along, because it is something that I'm very interested in. But I want to pass it out to you as a community. How would you feel about us doing maybe something more community-based around laser cutting? So, for example, if you guys could feed back to us how many of you can get access to a fab lab, right? That maybe as BC4, possibly for backstagers or maybe just out to the general community, if we started creating laser projects, projects that probably wouldn't be commercially viable or worth the time of the commercial guys doing it, but projects that we would then share with backstagers or share with the general community that you could then take along. You could change at home and take along to your local fab lab and get them cut out. How would you feel about that? Because it's something that I'm very interested in. I know you've been very interested in, and maybe it's something that at some point, maybe as BC4, we run a fundraiser to try and get our own laser cutter to allow us to test these things.
Don't tempt me, Warren.
We do the plans and then distribute the plans out and create a community creating plans for creating interesting stuff that we typically wouldn't find the commercial guys doing, like floors and things like that. Yeah.
But this, for example, as ambitious as I was with the other tiles, this cut in 10 minutes goes together like a dream if you make it out of MDF and lasts for as long as you want it to. It's very, very sturdy when you put it together.
Well, how about we link to the plans for that? So come across to bc4.com. We've got a hot link to those plans for you guys. If some of you try it at your local fab lab, take a picture and post it in the comments and let us know how you get on. Okay, we're going to call it at that. Remember, tomorrow morning is XLBS. We're going to be talking about some cool stuff for Halloween. We've got the caption competition. And we've got the virtual museum of miniatures to talk about.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, what do you see? It is some interesting stuff. So guys, why not hop across to bc4.com, try our 7-day free trial, or if you don't think £3.79 is an awful lot to ask, it works out at about just under $5, I believe it is.
Yeah,
so
it's roughly the conversion.
So if you don't think that's an awful lot to pay for what is effectively the best digital magazine in the world. And hours and
beautiful
hours
people entertaining you.
Yes, and hundreds and hundreds of hours of very interesting tutorials and things like that as well. So if you fancy it, why not come across, join Backstage. We can't wait to meet you. And you will enjoy XLBS. It is a lot of good fun. Okay, guys, thank you, Killian. Always good to have you in the studio. We will shoot off now. All that's left to be said. Have a great week of gaming.